What's good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little, Big Nick the Quick. With me, as always, it's Tuesday. We back. We rolling. NBA Finals Game 3 tomorrow. 1-1 going back to the 305. Miami, Florida. The Miami Heat did what the Miami Heat do, and they got a W. We go back. We have a series. I don't know. We got a lot to talk about there because we got a couple tickets, big tickets that we'll chat through. We'll talk about that.
Sean is scared to call it a series.
Sean
doesn't want to call it a series.
So we'll talk about that. Then look, man, Kyrie Irving, it comes out, is essentially summoning LeBron James, telling him to come to Dallas. I have a lot to say about this, actually. I think this is very, very interesting from a guy in Kyrie Irving that's not even under contract with the Mavericks, by the way. So we'll talk about that. I think that's really interesting. And we got guys making plays on and off the field, if you get what I'm saying. Tickets are being printed. Is this an issue, man? Is this the thing that owners and leagues were worried about? We legalized sports gambling. Now players, we've had quite a few instances now where players are betting on games. It also makes me think like maybe there was a lot more people betting on games on the via the bookie side than not. So we'll talk about that. Bunch of stuff going on. Oh yeah, and of course, gotta talk about this Apple headset, man. $3,500. They want $3,500 for the Apple headset. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get to it.
Man, look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're gonna play it. You gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's goody?
How we feeling?
Man, what's happening, brother?
Man, lovely. I was in Columbus, Ohio this weekend, man. Shout out to the Buckeyes. Hey. Got to see the shoe in person.
Not a bad little town.
You listen. Okay, so I was going to say that, and I was prepared for you to say what you always say when I say something like that. That's just Columbus is actually decent. So the tournament was for my daughter's volleyball. The tournament was downtown. On Sunday, I got to walk around the downtown a little bit because there was some downtime between games. And yeah, nice little brunch scene on Sunday.
Yeah.
A lot of young people. A lot of black people. Like I was taken back by how many young black people there were there. So I was definitely feeling it. Obviously, everything is great in doses. But if you told me I had to spend a couple days there's definitely worse places to be. Yeah, so I was thinking, man, I was like, man, I got to get out to Ohio State game this year. Saw the shoe in person. It's absolutely massive.
That's why I was out there. I went and saw Justin Fields before he was on the Bears. Man.
Oh, so you've been to a game out there?
I've been to a game. I've been to the shoe. Yeah. Justin Fields beat Cincinnati.
Got you.
This is like maybe they smoked them, bro. Like some real like 49-10 type shit. This was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but I'd never been there. And you hear we're city guys, man. So like I'm probably not going to Ohio for anything outside of a sporting event. But I got there. I got an Airbnb for me and Alyssa. We went, we hung out, we went to the game. She's got family out there, so that's why we were out there. So I'm like, yo, if we're gonna go to the game. If they're in town, they happen to be in town. We met some people, did some tailgating. Solid town, bro. Very legitimate college town. The town would be there if the college wasn't there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I wouldn't call it a college town. Yeah.
So if you add one of the biggest universities in the country on top of that, it makes for a good city. So
I told someone else from Evanston. This wasn't in Columbus. I told someone else from Evanston. They're like, "Oh, that's a college town." I almost smacked them.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
disrespectful.
No.
Don't disrespect me.
It's similar. in that aspect for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what's up. I'm glad you had a good time in Ohio.
Man. They placed third in the tournament.
I was gonna say how they do.
They did good. They did very well. So it was a good time.
That's what's up. What position does she play?
She's a middle, so she plays up front in the middle.
Okay, yeah, she's playing D.
People.
She's spiking shit. Okay.
Yeah, she's out here doing the Bam Adebayo.
The Bam Adebayo versatility.
Exactly.
Let's kick it off with this Apple VR headset, bro. Because I want to get what are your thoughts on AI in general, first of all?
AI or VR? AI.
AI. Yeah, VR. I guess it's like the
AI. So AI to me, that if you're following a lot of the stuff that's coming out with AI has been around for a while, but obviously the last few years, or really the last few months, coverage on it has really ratcheted up. That shit's scary to me. If we're being completely honest, I was reading
they all go hand in hand though. Like this headset's gonna have tons of AI, VR,
sure, yeah. But the thing with the AI is the fact that it's like those old sci-fi movies where like the computers take over the world and shit.
Like
that's what you're talking about with this AI. I read this article where this dude, they had basically made a simulation where the AI bot was supposed to kill, say, like all things that had red on it, right? So in the simulation, it kills everything with red. The only time it doesn't is when the operator tells it not to, right? So if the operator is like, hey, don't kill that thing in red, it won't kill that thing in red. But because
this is a movie you're talking about, right?
No, this was a simulation. This is a real AI simulation that they did with some AI that they had developed. So basically, the thing was so dead set on killing everything in red and got pissed off when the operator would tell it no, that it would start killing the operator. So then they had to train it not to kill the operator. So when
you're gonna have to send me this. You're gonna have to send me this.
I'll send it to you. So when it didn't kill the operator, right? When you trained it not to kill the operator, instead of killing the operator, it started shooting the tower that the operator was in. So it wasn't directly killing the operator, but then it would kill the operator, which would allow it to kill things. Whatever. It gets Basically, long story short,
you sound like you was off of some tree watching some shit.
No, I was reading it. It was crazy. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. Send it to me.
The whole VR shit in relation to this headset, Apple puts out the $3,500 headset.
Did you watch the video?
I didn't watch the video for it. I didn't need to. Go ahead. I'll let you explain it real quick.
No, you should go watch. You should. My fact, while I'm talking, you should go watch the VR commercial. Pull it up really quick and take a peek. Now, I think it's very interesting. We won't talk about the price point because obviously that's outrageous. $3,500 for a headset that you essentially will be in the house using by yourself, because if you are sitting there with other people using it, I don't understand why you would do that. But it's interesting that it seems like it may replace like a computer essentially. So you could be at the crib and put this on and you're like doing all your work via the headset and getting calls and taking emails and doing all types of stuff. The one thing that was really interesting that I wanted to talk about it was for watching sports. The commercial, my man throws the headset on and essentially is on the couch watching the game out in front of him. He's making the screen bigger. The one dude threw the game on the coffee table. It's just really interesting when it comes to sports because not a lot of I've been very fortunate enough to sit courtside a few times. I've never paid for it in my life. People don't have the money to sit courtside, but this headset type of situation may be able to put you in a couple spots that are essentially courtside, and that whole thing is very interesting to me. I will say this: I don't buy the first generation of anything. The only first generation thing I've ever bought was the iPhone 1. There's no reason to buy the first generation of said object. Let it be AirPods, let it be whatever. I think you can wait for the second joint when they get the kinks out and figure shit out and do the rest of it. But yeah, man, make sure you go check out. I think it's a very interesting looking product.
So here's where I am with that, man. This is like in like the last 10 years, like the 5th time they've tried to sell us some form of VR and telling us this is the next big thing. So
did you watch the video?
No, I don't need to because I know
yes, exactly you do. I'm gonna pull it up for you. No, you don't.
But listen, check it out. Do you remember after Avatar came out and everybody was like, "Yo, 3D's where it's at. 3D's where it's at." So everybody started buying 3D TVs and the 3D glasses and all this 3D stuff. But what happened? No one made content in 3D. So you would have all these devices that were pretty much useless because you couldn't watch anything on it. So this VR headset might be the greatest thing ever. But let me remind you that ESPN, owned by Disney, one of the largest corporations in the world, still broadcasts in 720p. We are at 4K. You have a 4K TV. I have a 4K TV. The biggest broadcaster in the world still broadcast in 720p because the technology is not caught up to where they can put everything at 1080p or let alone 4K. So until there's apps, until there's developers making stuff for there, until there's content, You might be able to watch a game sitting courtside. It might have the ability to do that. But if the NBA and the ESPN and whatever content partner isn't producing that content, it's not going to happen. Same thing happened with 3D TVs. Everybody bought it. Well, listen, everybody bought a 3D TV, and what happened? There were no 3D channels.
I didn't buy that 3D TV.
Yeah, but a lot of people did. A lot of people did, and they look stupid.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna get you this clip real quick. It's kind of long. It's like a minute and a half.
And at 3,500, no one's gonna have the technology yet, man.
I think I'm gonna have to put something in the the bio to let motherfuckers know that we did like a little Apple rant here. If you want to get to the sports, jump over to. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna put this up for you. I want you to see it though, because it is interesting. Watching the games at the crib, watching sports via a headset by yourself is interesting because it just opens up different dynamics. It's like being immersed. You're more immersed in the game. It's surround sound via visual, essentially. All right, here's the clip, Big Nick. I had to get it loaded up for you. We'll take a look and we'll see what you think here.
You're nothing but a dreamer. Well, can you put your hands in your head? Oh no, I said dreamer. You say you are a dreamer. Well, can you put your hands in your head? Oh no, I said fudge. Wanna take the you, hey lady this. Oh no, well you know you hate.
That's all we need to see. Now, hold on. Now, if you could sit down and open up ball games like that, bro, and literally
put on ski goggles to do it,
and put on ski goggles that they have the sound, they broke it all down. Now, if you could throw that up and watch games like that, bro, and pin, it would be amazing.
I'm straight again.
And you eventually would get on board.
I'll tell you the same thing that I've said the last 4 times. Remember, there was a big VR push during the pandemic with Oculus. It's the same thing. Until you have developers who are developing the software for it, the hardware is obsolete, and the software is not going to be developed.
No, bro, this is just like you put the headset on and pull up a YouTube video. You could watch it like that. Yeah. That's the whole thing.
The Western Conference Finals were in 720p. So
is that confirmed?
Yes, ESPN. Go. You know, on YouTube TV, you can see what you're watching in. Go on ESPN right now and go down to change your resolution, and 720p is the highest resolution allowed by ESPN. They don't broadcast in 1080p. They have a 4K channel that they use a few times a year for some college football games. I'm on it with this shit. Trust me, I've been on it. ESPN gives you 720p. Certain shit on ESPN Plus is in 1080p. So none of it's in 4K. Where's your last 4K game you watched? You got a 4K TV.
I got a 4K TV.
I got several.
I don't have
none of them show me anything.
Pay for the YouTube.
I get maybe one Premier League game a month. You get on an NBC 4K. Right?
Do you buy the YouTube 4K package?
I have before, but there was no content. So I
speaking of this, since we're talking about YouTube TV, I gotta get this off my chest. I didn't realize I was still paying for NBA League Pass the last like 3 months, bro. They owe me $45, bro. That should be against the law. Why would I be getting charged for NBA League Pass if there's no games left to watch? Now, Nick made an interesting, I guess, point, was that you're paying for non-game content. Okay, fine. But that shit's a scam.
Replays, classic games.
Classic game. But like, is there an NBA League Pass channel? Like a main channel? See, that's a finesse, bro. Make sure y'all cancel y'all League Pass, man. If you still got it from during the regular season, that's a scam. Let's get into the NBA finals.
PGA and Liv just merged, by the way.
Who?
PGA and Liv.
Really?
Yeah, PGA Tour agrees to merge with Marvel Live Golf and DP World Tour into yet to be named company.
Wow.
Yeah, literally just announced as we're on air here. PGA and Tour, PGA and Live have merged. I don't know how that works.
I'm going to tell you this.
So much, yeah.
All the golfers that didn't go over to Live for that
get
bag
that quick money, are stupid,
disgusted, and dumb.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I found out, Nick, that you could play the majors,
yeah,
it was I would have packed it up and left
It's like, oh, sorry, I can't play TPC Sawgrass. Oh, my bad, but you can play. I can't play the Phoenix Open. Yeah, it's a great time, but whatever.
The Valero Open.
I'm not playing. Yeah, sorry,
dog. Especially guys that were down the road, like dog, man. Yeah. Soon as the majors were locked in, that's interesting, man. I wonder if Brooks Koepka didn't win the PGA. Does this happen? I can't wait to take a look at that. That's
when
that's
you have the
very
live guys
interesting.
starting to win all the majors, it becomes an issue.
I also wonder, like, did the Saudis come in with this shit about to be called live, dog?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who bought who?
This shit get ready to be called live, dog.
We're soccer guys, and you're seeing the money these folks are throwing around. It's a little bit different, dog. The money is not really an object to these people. They give anybody $100 million to do whatever. They don't really give a fuck.
This shit get ready to be called live tour, dog.
Yeah, you're gonna
we'll see how it shapes.
In Riyadh for the fucking PGA Championship.
PGA Championship in Iran. Iran. Excuse me, Iran. I want to sound ignorant. Iran.
The Fallujah Open in this motherfucker.
the Benghazi Open, dog.
Qatari Cup. They got all them World Cup stadiums. They're gonna be good, G.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. Yeah, the Fly Emirates Open.
Emirates gonna be all over this motherfucker. Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, let me bring it back. That's funny stuff. All right, NBA Finals Game 3, Miami, Florida, tomorrow, Wednesday. To repeat, my biggest play of the year is the Nuggets minus 1.5 games. In other words, they need to win in 5 or 6 games now. That was a big blow, Game 2, especially because of the way it happened.
What did you purchase that at?
I still think I cash. I still think the Nuggets win in 5 or 6.
What was the number on that?
I got minus 150. I closed at minus 175. So I got a little bit of a solid number. But let's talk about Game 2, and then we'll talk about Game 2 for a little bit, and then get into Game 3, what we think and how we feel. I have the audio of Spoelstra calling people with an untrained eye. I want to get Nick's.
Fired up Spoelstra press conferences have been great.
I want to get Nick's opinion on, is he trying to deflect there? Is he just like, there's no way that's what we're trying to do, when that's exactly what he's trying to do?
Sure.
That was kind of what I took from it immediately when I was watching it live, was for him to deflect it that hard. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what this dude's trying to do. And like, that's what we're going to do the rest of the series. So we'll talk about that. But let's talk about Game 2. Jokic goes ballistic, but this was the most Miami Heat NBA playoff game we've seen. This is what they've been doing all playoffs. They shot 49% from 3. They never, ever the role. It's very simple. They hit 49% from 3. The role players stepped up. Duncan Robinson stepped up in the 4th. Max Strus stepped up in the 1st, and Vincent carried it through the 2nd and the 3rd when they needed to get a couple buckets.
Miami wins typically aren't difficult to explain, and that's not taking away anything from what they did.
Yeah.
But you tweeted out right after the game, and I actually had to watch this one on replay because I was driving home. It was 100% a Miami Heat classic type of game. Spoelstra made some very key adjustments going into the game. Starting Kevin Love. If you looked at the beginning of the first quarter of Game 1, I know we didn't get a recap on that. Aaron Gordon went ballistic, right? Aaron Gordon was getting every one, start 6 of 6 in the first quarter. I think Spoelstra was like, there's no way that's happening again. We're not going to be taking advantage due to lack of size. We're going to start Kevin Love. He's a winner, NBA champion Kevin Love, mind you. So he knows what to do. And I think from the very beginning, you saw how they came out. And one thing that told me that Miami had already buried Game 1, I think this goes to your point of some of Miami's scheduled losses. I think that was always going to be a tough game for them to win just because they were coming off of 2 days of rest, had to fly out to Denver after that Game 7 in that super draining series. And again, it's just kind of a scheduled loss for them. When I saw Strus come out in Game 2 and pretend like his performance in Game 1 never happened, and we're not talking about an NBA superstar here. We're not talking about a guy who absolutely has to have a short-term memory like a Butler would have to, or like some of your bigger stars do. We're talking about Max Strus. The fact that he came out in the first quarter of Game 2 firing, right, felt empowered to do so, felt confident enough to do so, and was hitting them, I was like, oh, yeah, this is very, very good for the Miami Heat. Even when Denver went on that run at the end of the first, right? Like the classic Denver run where they're just getting whatever they want and it looks like, oh, this is going to get scary. I was never worried about it, man. Miami has the ability to stay in control of a game and never make you believe that they're out of it. Even in game one, that little mini Kyle Lowry fourth quarter run was like, okay, yeah, this feels right? Because once they start hitting shots, they're so committed to doing what they're trained to do and what they're taught to do and sticking to the game plan that they honestly all believe in, that if the shots are falling, they're really tough to beat, man. And then the fourth quarter, they go into that zone. It starts to confuse you. They clearly said, yeah, we'll let Jokic score, but what we don't want to do is have him do what he did in game one, where he did not shoot for the first 10 minutes of the game and just sat there and controlled everything mentally. Let him score. Let him do his thing, right? We don't need him kicking it to the open man in the corner, right? We need Michael Porter Jr. pulling up for contested threes, right? We need these guys taking bad shots. We're going to throw Jimmy Butler on Jamal Murray, and he's just going to pester him all day. I don't care if Jimmy Butler has a great offensive game or not. We need him to do his thing on the defensive end. You look at a Gabe Vincent. Listen, man, Gabe Vincent is a tone setter for this team. Gabe Vincent gets them into what they want to do. He's a score-first guy, but he does it in a way that's not selfish. I mean, he pulls up for clean looks. I didn't think it was the best Caleb Martin game, obviously, right?
Terrible
Caleb Martin game. Terrible Caleb Martin game. But still,
he hit a big three when it was counted on, when it was called on in the fourth quarter from the corner.
Absolutely. You got a couple minutes from Zeller that just gave you some size and some relief and let some other guys sit down. I mean, it is what it is, right? So, again, Zeller, Highsmith, these guys come in for 5-6 minutes in the game. They don't fuck anything up. But, obviously he's not out there to give you 10 points. But, again, just the way that they played that game, the discipline that they showed, the defense. I thought defensively Denver was awful as far as just leaving guys wide open. I don't really know how many times you want to leave the Miami Heat open for threes.
Michael Porter Jr., awful. Contavious Caldwell-Pope,
awful. Everybody that wasn't named Jokic was awful. I mean, Jamal Murray was okay, but Jimmy was giving him problems, and Jamal Murray doesn't offer you anything defensively. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think that
let me tell you,
to make or miss league in Miami represents that more than anybody.
It was as if the Denver Nuggets watched ESPN on a loop for a couple days, listen to our podcast, listen to me on Action Network, listen to everyone just praise them in game one. And they came out in game two like the Boston Celtics. That's what that shit reminded me of. They thought the shit was sweet. Everything was going to be cool. And on the flip side, the Miami Heat also watched ESPN and also listened to the pods. And they were like, okay, we got to remind y'all how we get down. Because they were on them early and often. I said this too. You cannot let the Miami Heat get confidence early in the game because it lingers throughout the entirety. They came out and won that first quarter, and Strus went crazy. The confidence and the tone was set for the rest of the game. Didn't matter if they went down 15 later. Didn't matter if they were down 8 going into the fourth. They knew from the start that, hey, we're going to compete in this game. If you want to bury the Miami Heat, you have to do what the Boston Celtics did in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Come out, blow them out in the first quarter, and stay on them throughout the entirety of the game. If you give them confidence early, they get rolling, just like they did in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, just like they've done in multiple spots in the playoffs. Now, going back to Miami, the Denver Nuggets have not been a great road team. They were sub 500 on the road. Their PAR goes from like 189 down to like 171. I got it pulled up right here. Let me get the number exactly. Their PAR goes from points, assists, rebounds combined. 194 at home. On the road, it goes down to 181.4. They're just not as involved and active. Their assists are down. Turnovers are up. They go to 15. Now, on 2 days rest, though, which they will have going into Game 3 of the NBA Finals, the numbers start to go back up to where they're at when they're at home. PAR is 194 at home. Like I mentioned, 2 days rest is 189.5. On 2 full days rest, their turnovers go down to 13.1. On the year, they're at 14.5. So they will have the 2 days rest. They will have time to adjust. They will have time to digest that game too. And we'll see how they come out here in game 3. This for my bet to hit, this is a must win for me.
Yeah.
They have to win this game for them to win in 5 or 6. Go ahead.
Does it get so? Let me ask this. So 2 things I wanted to point out real quick. As far as like the watch and ESPN, I did think it was crazy how many people were ready to declare this series over after game 1. It's almost like they didn't watch the game and didn't watch Miami literally not be able to hit a shot. Remember old school NBA jams? Like you can't buy a bucket. They couldn't buy a bucket. I get it.
But also, Nick, I think that was like they shot it better than the Miami Heat in game 1 shot it better than the Denver Nuggets in game 1.
Yeah.
Like Denver played poorly. That was the thing. Denver didn't play like an Denver game, and they won by double digits.
Well, that was more my point, though. Miami brought it back. Miami did bring it back. But again, if you're talking about that game for Miami, we just talked about as far as scheduled losses and games that were always going to be tough for them. Denver was coming off 9 days rest. Miami was coming off a flight from fucking Boston. You know what I mean? So again, like I get it. Like I don't think Denver played amazing in game 1, but I think that Miami played terribly. I
think overall, Denver played a B game and won by double digits, and then they played horrendous in game 2, and they lost by 3 points. I think overall, Denver got a little happy. They had won like 8 or 9 in a row at home. They kind of thought the entitlement crept in a little bit on Denver, and Jokic noticed he wasn't going to get any help from MPJ and the rest of those guys in the third. That's why he went crazy. He's like, I'm going to have to score. And then the Duncan Robinson shit happens where he scores 8 points in 60 seconds.
Did he say, get the fuck off me? What did he say before he made that face? I watched a couple times trying to figure out. I thought he said,
I don't know, but I know that he won them the game in that stretch.
Absolutely.
The 8, they went in up 8, and the 8 was disappeared and dusted. And with 10 minutes left in the fourth.
Yeah.
So he was massive. They continue to just get guys to show up in big spots and then shoot it lights out. Now, the thing that's nervous about that could get nervy for Denver is what happens when all these motherfuckers shoot lights out again and Jimmy shows up and has a big game.
Exactly.
Like
Jimmy hasn't played well in
2-3 weeks.
Like
2 full weeks.
Offensively,
yes.
He still affects things out there. That's the great thing about Jimmy Butler. But I think, and what they say in game 1, he didn't shoot a free throw.
Yeah,
I don't think he got to the line. I don't think he got to the line in game 1. Which, if you watch Jimmy Butler play,
he shot 0 free throws. It was the second time the entire season he didn't shoot any free throws.
Yeah, that's like the crux of his game is getting to the line and bringing contact. So I think that goes to your point about is Jimmy hurt. But yeah, to your point, if Jimmy comes out fine, fuck what if everybody else comes out, because they're always going to get 1 or 2 guys that are going to help in the cause, right? If Jimmy comes out and is playing like Jimmy did at times in that New York series, like he did in game 1 of Boston, and like he played against the Bucks, you have a major problem. Because now you have a guy, right, that's giving you those 8 straight that Duncan gave you, except for that guy is Jimmy Butler. And then it keeps going and then going, Duncan is going, and now Duncan's hitting shots because he's wide open.
Because he's wide open.
Because your defense collapses, right? Now Strus is hitting shots because he's wide open. Now it's Caleb Martin, who we've seen have nothing but good games throughout the playoffs. Can you bank on him having 3 again? No, he's probably going to show back up with 14 or 15. Gabe Vincent, I just told you, he's been the steadiest player for the Miami Heat in this playoff run. I've been beyond impressed. That's why I thought when he was out, was it game 5 that he was out against Boston? I was like, that's a loss. Because Gabe Vincent's been absolutely massive.
That was actually understated.
Yeah,
that was actually a big spot. We could have made some money.
Huge spot. Probably.
We didn't even no one even Gabe Vincent's out. It was kind of like the number didn't even move. It was
we should have got an Apple VR headset on that. Yeah. We would have all been rich.
Facts.
So if you look at stuff like that, and then all these like little 20, 21 point games from Jimmy's due, man. Like this is a man who had a 50-point triple-double last time he was in the NBA Finals.
So let's talk about this. Going into game 3.
He's available. It was 50-point triple-double, right?
Yeah,
against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Hall
or
of Fame
it was like 40-point triple-double. Yeah, but it was like a big triple-double.
I'll call it a 70-point triple-double.
Jimmy, the Miami Heat have figured out how they can compete in these games because they know for a fact, Spoelstra knows for a fact that their A game can't compete with Denver's A game. They need to play extremely well and completely slow the game down to a halt.
Yeah.
To even compete.
They need 108, 111.
They need 85 possessions. None of this like 110 possession games.
Yeah.
The pace has to be extremely slow. We talked about it on Action Network. The way that these guys are going to win is just completely mucking up the game and slowing it down to where there's less possessions for them essentially to need to get a bucket.
And the mistakes that Miami forces you into are way more costly on 85 possessions versus 113.
If they start playing 100+ possession games, they're gonna lose in 5.
Yep.
If they continue to grind this shit out and slow it down, then it's a different story. Now, Michael Porter Jr. from the 3, I believe, is like 2 for 17 to start the finals. So let me get the number. I should have had it up. But he is, let's see. My bad. I should have had this up. He's only hit 2 threes in the finals, and I want to say he's taken like 10. Let's see. Game 1, or in this past game, Michael Porter Jr. was 1 of 6 from 3. He's only hit 2 threes, and then 1 of 6. He's 3. He's 3 of 17 from 3 in the finals. That's not going to get it done for Michael Porter Jr., one of the purest shooters in the NBA. So I expect him to show up too in Miami as well. KCP was a little too overzealous in game 2. First of all, he fouled out of the game.
Yeah.
That should tell you all you need to know if we're being honest.
KCP should never foul out of a basketball.
KCP should never foul out of a basketball game. He fouled out of the game. We know he fouled 2 3-point shooters, gave up a ton of free throws. I want to say KCP gave up like 8 or 9 free throws by himself. He gave up a ton of free throws purely on that aspect. The officiating was awful. Swayed Miami. And not deliberately. None of that bullshit. They shaving points and they want to extend the series. None of that. They had some tough bang calls that went against them in every spot. Clear goaltend. I mean, clear as day on Bam Adebayo. He got away with that. So interesting spot. I expect Denver to bounce back because they literally bounced back within the game. They got hit in the mouth in the first quarter, bounced back, went on a big run, went up double digits. Got hit again, bounced back again, went up 8 going into the fourth. And then the fourth quarter, Miami Heat happened.
Well, wouldn't we also call that Miami bouncing back? Like after that first quarter run, it's like in a lot of situations that game's over with and Miami comes right back.
But that's what I was saying about them getting them confidence in to start the game.
Yeah.
They felt like they were in the game right at the offset.
Miami's ability to withstand runs. I mean, it's
hitting shots.
They
hit shots. Like, how do you withstand runs? You hit shots. And I'm going to tell you this, Nick. This doesn't get enough credit. Spoelstra calls timeout. He hasn't missed a timeout call yet.
Yeah, he knows exactly when to call them.
His timeouts are perfectly placed.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him a mistimed TO yet from Eric Spoelstra. So, yeah, no doubt they were locked in. I'm excited to see how it shakes in game 3. I like the Nuggets. I think they bounce back. I bet the over team total over 108.5. I like the money line. I'll lay the 2.5. I think Denver comes in and gets a win. Like I said, full disclosure, I'm on the -1.5 in the series. So, how you see game 3 going?
Wait, 108.5. Denver scored 108 in game 2 and 104 in game 1, or 103 in game 1, was it? Yes. Yeah, I got Miami, man. I think that they have the confidence. Again, I think game 1, I'm going on your point on scheduled losses. That was a scheduled loss for them. I think that they win game 3 in Miami. I don't think that necessarily swings the series, but I do think that they win game 3 in Miami. I think that they have momentum. I think it's going to be a very, 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 very tough spot for the Denver Nuggets because they've now seen. I think that the armor, it depends on how they bounce back mentally. Malone was obviously flustered after that game. It depends on how they come back in, but I like Miami. I like the advantage Miami in this game.
If Miami wins game 3,
yep,
Everyone should go out, sell everything they own, and bet the Denver Nuggets in Game 4, if that's the case. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes. I'm excited.
Do you see any way that the Miami Heat win this series? I got to know. Like, outside of your money aside?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Okay.
Like, I love, like, I'm on wax.
For sure.
There's literally a Jimmy Butler bobblehead right here.
Yeah.
Like, Jimmy Butler is my dog. The way they win the series is shoot 50% from three the rest of the way, I guess. I guess that's possible. But I think that was one of the best offensive games they can play, and it still was a one-possession game coming down the stretch.
But was it if your best player doesn't play well offensively?
Nick, they shot 49%.
But I'm just saying, is it the best offensive game you can play if you still don't get that 30 from your top dog?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could have got 30 and still shot 49%. I guess from three. Yeah, no, I guess that's.
Any issues with Mike Malone not calling a timeout down the stretch, or do you continue to let that play go through?
I'm calling a timeout either way.
Okay.
I believe, because you want to know when I'm calling a timeout. Actually, and this is the real answer. I went back and watched it multiple times. When you see Jimmy Butler on Jokic bringing the ball down, who are you getting in the switch?
Jimmy Butler.
Okay, timeout. Because you don't want him on the switch.
You don't want him on the switch.
You want anybody else but him on the switch.
He's like, oh, great, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone in the world knows you're going to come down and run screen and roll with Jamal Murray and Jokic, right? No matter what happens. And shout out Bam for knocking down those free throws. Massive free throws. Ice cold, knocked them both down. Now,
great game from Bam.
Everyone knows that watches basketball and watches the game and knows the Denver Nuggets. They are getting ready to come down with Jamal Murray and run screen and roll with Jokic. Two-man all day long. Now, you get that rock. He gets the ball. They get the rebound. There's like 13 or 14 seconds. There's a lot of time on the clock. If you're coming down and you're looking at Jimmy Butler on Jokic, you know the switch is coming, and you're getting ready to see Jimmy on Jamal Murray.
You're going to switch Butler right into Murray, yeah.
Timeout. That's it. That's the only reason I would have called a timeout, because as you saw, Jimmy Butler affected that play a ton. Jimmy Butler to get his hand on the rock and almost strip him completely disrupts the play. He gets the ball over half at 8. The ball gets knocked away. He doesn't pick the ball back up until 5. And now Jamal's like, I gotta go get a shot up. Yeah. Good. Ended up being an okay look, but I would have liked to see a timeout and get exactly when you have a maestro like Jokic, call timeout and figure out a way that you can get exactly the look you're looking for. This is the best offensive team in basketball. This isn't a team that's like, we have a shot to tie the game. I don't want to let the other coach or other team do anything. Let's just go out there and try to get a shot up. I would have liked to see a timeout, especially with Jimmy Butler going to be the switch man and see one-on-one versus JB to try to tie the game, knowing you need a 3.
That's a great call out that also speaks to just the IQ level that Butler and the Heat play with, that Butler knew exactly what they were going to do and knew that if he picked up Jokic, it would throw him exactly where he needed to be on the play.
Because they need 3.
Yeah.
So, here we come. I'll take Jokic because we'll switch it because they're going to run a 2-man right now. So, I would have liked to see a timeout. Would have been interesting for sure. So, I'm on the Nuggets. Nick likes Miami. I'm interested to see the first quarter and how Denver comes out off the top. To close out this Miami Finals or the NBA Finals talk, Spoelstra was asked, are you making Jokic a scorer on purpose? Is this the game plan for the Miami Heat? Make Jokic score, not be the maestro. Here's Spoelstra's reaction.
Final question on the left.
Hey, Coach. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. This is probably oversimplifying things, but sometimes when teams play against Jokic, you turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's just that's the untrained eye that says something like that. This guy's an incredible player. Twice in 2 seasons, he's been the best player on this planet. You can't just say, oh, make him a scorer. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. We have to focus on what we do. We try to do things the hard way. and he requires you to do many things the hard way. Man, he has our full respect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Now, Nick, really quick. Jokic is on wax every single time he gets the mic saying, I just play ball and I take what they give me.
I'll let the game
so
come to me.
If you come double me and give me a bunch of attention, I'm just going to give the ball up. He says that. He does it on the court. In the third quarter in game 2, he knew his boys didn't have it. MPJ doesn't have it again. KCP not locked in.
MPJ thought he had it.
I'm going to have to go out and score a bunch of points. And he did that in the third quarter. It wasn't enough to hold on and get the W. My question to you, Nick, is Spoelstra deflecting that question the way he did, almost getting upset. Was that a example of him? He almost, in my opinion, Nick, shut it down a little too hard. Almost like, to me, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is make Jokic a scorer. Because his whole answer was, I can't make Jokic do anything. He's so good. He's the best player on the planet. Two seasons in a row in the NBA. I can't make him do anything. He has my full respect. When in all actuality, is that exactly what he's trying to do? And he was trying to deflect the question.
I don't know. Hey, I have no idea. I don't know if he's necessarily saying that he's went in the locker room was like, hey, let this guy get 50. But so maybe that's why he took offense to it. I don't know. I honestly don't. I can tell you
what I'm saying. It's an
Eric
interesting
Spoelstra has been feisty in press conferences for the past couple weeks. You saw him after Game 6 when he was damn near shaking. I think he's just I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I think it's just that mentality, whatever the hell goes on in that locker room. Just like Jimmy says the same thing after every press conference. He's like we don't listen to nothing. We don't believe anything that we hear. You know what I mean? I think that those guys are just in full lockdown. So I don't know if he's going in there saying, let us get 50, but I let Jokic get 50. But I do know he's going in there saying, hey, we can't let this guy just sit here and control the game from the middle of the paint. We can't do it. You know what I mean? So whatever that requires, maybe we don't double him so hard every time because we know he's going to find somebody open. Maybe we force their other guys to try to create for themselves, which, again, is what it seems like Denver does get into. Jokic creates so much for those guys that I'm not going to say it makes them look better than they are, but it shows you what happens when you kind of force them to do their own. The only one of those guys that can create for themselves is Murray.
Yes.
Outside of Murray, the Denver Nuggets have a hard time creating their own shot.
Honestly,
you've talked about Porter Jr. for months. He has to get it in the right spot. Now, it's beautiful when it goes.
His table has to be set.
It's a 6'10" sharpshooter, so it looks really good. But you saw what happened when he was trying to create his own shot. It's ugly. He can't dribble. Doesn't have the ability to do it. Bradley.
Bruce is probably the third guy that can get his own shot before KCP or
KCP can't get his own shot. Aaron Gordon obviously cannot get his own shot. It's more junkyard dog type shit. So I think if you take away Jokic's ability to spoon feed them buckets, it changes a lot because it gets hard for them. So yeah, I that's probably the philosophy.
The way he answered that question for me is like he didn't want to say, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So he went the complete full tilt opposite and was like, you guys, man, you have an untrained eye if you think that. Do we though? Because I'm watching the games and the Nuggets lose when that boy scores a bunch of points. Yeah. And they win when he sets the table for everyone. Game 1, he didn't have a field goal till like late in the second quarter. Jokic. So I thought the way he responded to that was very clear. It was like if I'm playing poker, the way he responded, I'm like, wait, bro. I think that's exactly what he's trying to do.
Whatever it was, the adjustment was great. Same thing with starting Kevin Love. Same thing with some of the other little things that he did. I just think, again, the coaching master class that you're seeing from Spoelstra can't really be understated, man. I mean,
last question.
Yeah, that's it. By the way, Eric Spoelstra, born in Evanston, for those that don't know.
Yeah, shout out Spo, Chicago area guy, Evanston guy.
From out here.
Free Reggie Jackson, Nick?
No. Not what you did. Hey, you talking about guys?
Hey, we're talking about guys create their own shot.
Their own shot. That's what I was about to say. Reggie will create that motherfucker for you.
Hey, you want to talk about guys that go get their own bucket? Hey,
you know what Reggie is?
Put Reggie Jackson in the game. He gonna get a bucket.
You know the break glass in case of emergency. If you go to Reggie Glass. If you go to Reggie Jackson, you are breaking the glass in case of emergency. Like you saw him in some of those Clippers years. It was like 2 years ago. He was on fire in the playoffs. That was like, hey, someone needs buckets, and Reggie's like, hey, I'm here. He's one of those guys. Like talk about Hooper, a ball player. Like
looking down the bench, like
coach. I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Shout out Reggie Jackson. All right.
You don't go to Reggie Jackson yet. I think Bruce Brown's giving you enough at that position.
Let's talk about Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. This really pissed me off, Nick. I can't lie to you. I didn't tweet about it. I was just taking it all in. Shams Charania, friend of the program, actually. Shout out Shams.
I think Shams is from out here too, isn't he?
Yeah, Chicago area guy. Yeah, no doubt. Released a tweet, said Kyrie Irving has been trying to reach out to LeBron James to come to Dallas.
Shams went to New Trier.
Yeah, shout out Shams. Yeah, no doubt. Now, let me ask you this, Nick. On what fucking planet Earth can Kyrie Irving tell LeBron James to do anything?
I can tell you what planet Earth. The one that Kyrie Irving has occupied for the last few years. What are you talking about?
The fact that this is even LeBron James purely off the strength could never do this.
Yeah, I'm coming to Kyrie.
I mean, he can't do that. I can't. He cannot.
You don't recruit me.
You don't recruit me. I recruit you.
I recruit you.
You don't tell me what I should do.
I say where we're going.
You 100%, Nick. And for him to have the goal, I don't know what exactly is being told. I don't know what exactly, what exactly was said to Shams. I will say this: Shams gets a lot of his information from Clutch. That's LeBron James first.
Oh, you know that, my God! Right? Shams gets a lot of his information from Clutch. He's signed to Rich Paul's his agent.
Okay, Therese Shams. Tweet. Kyrie,
you know why Shams exists? Wait, hold on, real quick. Shams exists because Woj has a bad relationship with Clutch and always has. Woj and LeBron, the James camp and the Woj camp have never seen eye to eye. So Woj gets everything else, but Windhorst and Shams have the LeBron thing, and that's how it works.
No doubt.
You don't understand? Look it up.
Shams sources: Kyrie Irving has reached out to the Lakers star LeBron James in an attempt to see if James would come to Dallas. Is this some type of a fuck? What? Would you come to Dallas? What? How about you stay off my line? What are we like? Yo, do you
think LeBron gets that call? You think LeBron gets that call? He looks at his phone. You know, sometimes you get called from certain people. It's like, this motherfucker, man, I don't want to.
Yeah, bro. Like, I guess he's asking the question, which is okay. But like, never in the history of the world should LeBron James follow Kyrie Irving. Now, by the way, Nick, let me ask you this. How can you recruit a motherfucker to a team that you don't have a contract with? Can you explain that to me too? Hey, is this maybe a ploy from Kyrie to say, hey, it's a package deal. Sign me, I'm going to get LeBron. So I need the full max, Mark Cuban, because you got me. Max me out. I'll bring LeBron James over, and then we can figure out this 3 max player situation before the new CBA comes into play and we start to hit that ceiling of the second curtain and numbers start to get to 65 million a season.
Well, listen, it could be that, or it could just be that Kyrie's trying to look like a good soldier so that he does get a max deal, because it's pretty much Dallas or bust for Kyrie, right? Like Dallas, LA.
Is that where we're at?
There's not too many teams who are going to bring on Kyrie Irving. Like, you have to have the right basketball situation, number one. You saw what happened in Dallas, and I don't put that on Kyrie, but it's just his defense is that where you cannot put him with another guy that doesn't play defense, or else you're going to have the worst defense in the NBA. Like that Dallas defense the second half of the year was like a fucking colander. Like, you could literally just nothing, no defense at all. So I think it has to be the right situation for him, number one. Number two, there are certain teams that just aren't going to touch him because of the things that he said, done. You know, if you have a large Jewish fan base, you're probably not touching Kyrie. That shit'll fly in Texas. We probably go to Florida with that shit too.
Orlando.
But like, you know, it wasn't going to fly in New York. It's not going to fly on most of the East Coast. So it has to be an organization that can handle it. So I think he knows it's Dallas. Dallas is the one that can give him the most money. So I think that he's probably trying to look like a guy. Kyrie is dumb, but he's not dumb. Like, he knows LeBron's not going to be like, you know what, Kyle, it's a great idea. I'm going to fucking fly to Fort Worth right now. Like, it's not happening. But he has to try and make it look like he's trying. And that way, when he sits down at the negotiating table, he's like, yeah, I'm all in. What do you mean? I tried to call LeBron. I called LeBron. I'm Kyrie. How can I be anti-Semitic if I know my history?
So I just don't, the fact that he even has the heart to reach out to LeBron with that, and the fact that it hit the wire.
Of course it did.
But like they like it almost purposely comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like something like that wouldn't leak unless it was approved by all parties. Because isn't Kyrie just hitting LeBron directly?
Yeah, I doubt he's going through intermediaries to get to LeBron.
Right.
I mean,
so he's like, "Yo, bro, how you feel about coming to Dallas?" What? Then LeBron then goes and talks to Clutch, and then it gets to Clutch, and they're like, "Yeah, Shams, go ahead and do your thing."
Yeah.
So I think it's a really interesting piece. To have some fun with it, it's never going to happen because LeBron James. If LeBron James were to follow Kyrie Irving to Dallas, that's a whole nother. That's that's a full hour special.
LeBron will never wear another uniform again.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
LeBron James, I don't care, Bronny, whoever, Bryce, fucking Savannah, whoever wants to come fucking play with him, he's not putting on a different uniform, and that's just that. I think this is a 40-year-old man. Like, he lives in LA, he's happy in LA. If you have money, LA is the place to be. And, like, he's good. He's not going to go – he doesn't need to chase – if he goes somewhere else, it would be to chase something that he doesn't need to chase. Like, would it be great to win another title? Yeah, but we've talked about this, man. LeBron's career is signed, sealed, delivered. If you got a problem with it, to quote Eric Spoelstra, you're an untrained eye. And that's really where I'm at with it, man. Like, I don't want to – again, like, I don't think LeBron needs another title to prove anything. He's the second best player to ever play the game. We've talked about from an individual career standpoint, it might be the best individual career we've ever seen from start to finish in terms of longevity and whatever. He's a fucking all-time leading scorer in the league, and he's playing at a high level at the age of 38 or 39. If he would have retired this summer, I would have said, hey, man, great. Go make $10 more billion and do whatever you want to do, going out with Phil Knight and see what you guys can get popping. If he comes back, it's going to be in purple and gold. He's there. He's committed there. The organization wants and needs him there, and that's just that. So let's
close it here.
Yeah.
To have fun with it, would a LeBron, Kyrie, Luka roster work?
It would for LeBron and Kyrie. Luka.
If you're Luka
Doncic and the show has been yours since you got in Dallas, maybe outside of that year one with Dirk, and all of a sudden you look in the locker room and Kyrie Irving and LeBron James are there, it just got a little bit more crowded, right? You know what happens when LeBron comes. It's about LeBron. It's no longer about you. No matter who you are, it is about LeBron. 100% your organization becomes LeBron James' organization. And I think with Luka, great guy, but like, hey, look, man, I don't think he's going for that. So no. He didn't want Haralabob there. He didn't want LeBron in the building.
Yeah, Vulgaris, they didn't get along. Vulgaris was talking a little too much for Luka.
He's like, get this guy out of here, man. Who is this guy?
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we'll leave it there. Let's close it out. What's my man's name on the Colts? Indianapolis Colts. Report comes out. Couple Indianapolis Colts potentially have been betting on NFL games, including the Colts. Comes out that it is DB. Hold on. I don't want to mess up my man's name. I got to give him his credit. He did fire away. Was the corner?
I think it was an 18-game parlay.
Had to be a lay. Cornerback Isaiah Rodgers investigation, potential violation. He already came out on Twitter and apologized. I'm going to get exactly what he said. I'm going to get your thoughts on that as well. Because Nick, I got a question for you. Now, hold on, I want to get his exact Isaiah Rodgers Twitter. He had a statement. He did the screenshot joint where he wrote it on the notepad.
Oh, he did one of those?
Yeah, he did one of those.
That's how you know it's from the heart.
Hold on, here it goes. He's not a big-time player for them or anything like that. He goes, this is 13 hours ago, Isaiah Rodgers Sr., Indianapolis Colts cornerback. Addressing the current reports, I want to take full responsibility for my actions. I know I've made mistakes and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to repair the situation. Last thing I ever wanted to do was be a distraction to the Colts organization, my coaches, and teammates. I've let people down that I care about. I made an error in judgment, and I'm going to work hard to make sure those mistakes are rectified through this process. It's an honor to play in the NFL, and I've never taken that lightly. I am very sorry for all of this. So, in short, he was betting on NFL games.
And Rodgers like, cool, see you next year.
Yo, Goodell is I accept your apology.
Thanks,
see you next season.
Son, that was really eloquently put.
What is it?
In 2024.
Time to learn Chinese, buddy.
Yeah,
what is that?
There's no Chinese. Time to learn fucking
time
USFL.
To learn XFL, buddy.
Yeah, time to learn fucking.
Now,
renegades.
let me ask you this, Nick. To have some more fun, since we have fun with Kyrie and LeBron, let's have some more fun. Give me, because I know this is a very deep conversation, and there is an issue with it, but I want to get your perspective on this. What are the negatives for letting people bet on their team in the positive sense? Betting the Colts to win, betting himself to have an interception, betting them to go over their team total on offense, betting his defensive unit creates a turnover at plus 350. What's the negative? What's the negativity in that?
Because throughout human history, we've proved that if you give us an inch, we'll take a mile. So if you say, hey, man, you can bet on any positive outcomes for your team, people are like, cool. And then you start to thinking, I could probably impact a negative outcome on my team too and make a lot of money on that. I have way more control of that. Missed tackle here, blown coverage here. It is what it is, man. It's like the we were talking about before we hopped on the Alabama, I think it was Alabama baseball coach who literally had so he had sent some of his aides to Cincinnati at the Great American Ballpark where the Reds play to place bets on college baseball games, which I guess normally see no action, and they were placing sizable wagers on it on his own team, and then he pulled his starting pitcher. So again, man, we proved, and he got caught, obviously, because this is Vegas. Listen, here's the big thing. Number one, these people aren't dumb. They have the same type of technology that the FBI, the CIA, all that happens. You can be banned from a casino for Vegas 20 years ago, change your face altogether, you walk in, they get you right there from the jump. So they know who is placing what on what, right? So you're not going to get away with this shit. But to answer your question, yeah, because there's no way to say like, okay, that person might then change a little bit, or hey, man, yeah, I bet us to win, but kept it within the spread or whatever. Like,
now let me ask you this: the fact that these people are clear, maybe they're just dumb, but the fact that these guys are clearly betting via legalized gaming. DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, PointsBet, whatever, makes me feel like, dog, people had to be betting with bookies and stuff too. Why wouldn't they be? Why? How are you done? Like almost like the smart bettors are just betting with a bookie. And why are you putting money on the books at legalized spots that are being tracked and audited and all types of shit?
And all they look for is irregularities. In your betting
but
patterns.
There's no irregularities with
but
like
I'm just
the Colts
saying,
one,
like,
though.
Again, like you just know that you're going to get caught.
But it's easy dude, you're going to get caught if you're betting on a legal sports book on the NFL if you're in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
The NFL sends all that information over to all these people, and it's all ran through a third-party back system.
It's just ridiculous.
Does this ad just pop up in your registry? Oh, yep, that's Anthony, whatever that
yeah.
name is. We know, folks.
Like his sister was placed.
Why is someone putting $10,000 on Alabama baseball in Cincinnati, Ohio on a Tuesday?
Yeah. Why?
That sets off a signal.
Sky's sister, who plays for the Colts, just bet $15,000 on the Colts to win, and she filed $35,000 in taxes last year.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Where should she get that from?
How does that work?
Yeah, what just happened here? So yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So you're gonna get caught when you're doing shit like that.
Yeah, and the reason you don't let them do any of it is because and I think a lot of these. So like I know when whoever was that just got caught a couple months ago, the reason that they got caught is because you cannot do it from a team facility. So all that stuff is geotagged when you place your bet.
Oh,
so one of the rules that those guys broke, I forget it was a couple months ago that they got in trouble for. It wasn't what they bet. It was that they did it on a team. You cannot do it when you're on official
premises,
team, or you're on the plane at the hotel the team paid for.
Can you, as an NFL guy, bet baseball?
I think you can, but you cannot do it while you are at the facility, at the hotel, on the plane, at practice, whatever. You need to do that shit at the crib. I think you can.
Interesting. Yeah, I got to look more into that. I'm gonna look more. But
that's why those guys got caught. I don't know if you remember, it was a couple months ago with some NFL guys, and they got popped off for
Detroit.
And the coaches, they were doing it from the facility.
Interesting.
So you can't do it from the facility.
No, that's nothing for me then. If that's the case, that's a dumb rule.
But it's also a rule, and you knew it. They guys sit down to an orientation. If MSG is like, hey, Sean, if MSG is like, hey, Sean, you can't bet on the Knicks from the fucking studio, and then you bet on the Knicks from the fucking studio, they fire you.
Sometimes Nick is a real stickler when it comes to the rules.
I'm not, but I'm a stickler for dumb shit.
For those who don't know, Nick sometimes will just go be like, well, that was against the rules.
But listen. My thing with the rules is this: when you have the rules in a situation like that, and and they're very clear, because when they break this down to you, they're very clear on what's going to happen. You don't have to agree with it. There's a lot of shit I don't agree with.
Right.
But if they tell me, hey, Nick, if you bet from the fucking hot tub, you're going to get fired, and then I bet from the hot tub and I get fired, that's hard more on me.
There's nothing to stand on.
There's nothing. Hey, that's a dumb rule. Well, we fucking knew the rule. Now, if you fire me some shit I didn't know about, that's different. But you have a job. I have a job. We go through orientation. There's an employee handbook. There's shit that they tell you like, hey, this is an absolute, you will get fired. So you got to know the deal.
No doubt. We'll leave it there. No Catch Us Sports Talk via Chicago. You already know. Big Nick the Quick, Sean Little, every week, more than once a week sometimes. We always having fun. Tell your homies to tell a friend. Pass them a link. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review.
Are we recapping tomorrow night?
Help us out. Yeah, let's do a little recap. It might have to be in the morning because I got a card game I'm going to play in tomorrow. So we'll chat. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we do need to get a recap in for sure because I'm either going to be in a really good mood or a bad mood. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun either way. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Like I said, leave a 5-star review. It helps us out tremendously. Pass the link around. We'll see y'all next time. No Catch Us Sports Talk via Chicago.